G'day everybody, welcome back. So today's job, let's measure everything up and see where we're at. Have a look at the barrels, measure the diameters in there, make sure they're in spec or damaged or whatever may fall out of that inspection. Measure the pistons, and then we'll pull the cylinder head apart and we'll inspect it as well. So first cab off the rank, I've brought my measuring sticks home from work. So I've got my micrometers and my telescopic gauges. At first glance, and I'll probably do my best not to make a big shaky mess of this. Lighting might be a challenge. At first glance, the bores actually look okay. Yeah, at first glance, the bores look okay. You can see a crosshatch that's in the bottom below where the piston goes, but above that it's smooth. But I can't feel any ridges, I can't feel any lumps and bumps in there. It feels and looks smooth. All of them appear to be the same, with the exception of cylinder number 3. Now, you see that, probably can't see, there's a 3 there. There's a 1 here, and someone's written on here with permanent marker. This thing has been apart. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not it's still a standard bore. There is a bit of a shit stain down in here. Just trying to get the light right, just there. I think that would probably, it just looks like some sort of some sort of poop on there. There just seems to be a bit of a build up of shit there. I think that'll lick off no problem at all with a hone. Now, if these bores are standard size, or sorry, if the pistons and the barrels measure okay, and we don't need to rebore it, then we'll just get this block re-honed and we'll fit new rings and we'll go from there. So let's get to the measuring now. That's my 0 to 1. That's my 50 to 75 outside mic. These are my more than right telescopic bore gauges. We probably want that guy. Now you can buy these. You can buy cheaper versions of these. These more than right ones are quite expensive. I've seen them online for as little as like $20, $30 for a set, but these are ground and hardened tips, and if you're a home gamer, you can get away with the cheaper ones, no problem. But if you use them for work, etc., like I do, you're probably better off spending the money on something a little bit better quality, I guess. So we want to measure this, and if you look in your manual, it'll show you. You want to measure this in 6 positions. So at the top of the bore, below where the piston crowns, so you'll see a line where the rings top out. You want to be below that, around the middle, and then down the bottom again, in 3 positions in 2 planes. So we'll take 6 measurements. I'll just get my micrometer. We'd best check it's against the standard. Bang on. With any measuring equipment, they're calibrated to measure accurately at 20 degrees Celsius. It's a bit cooler than that in here today, but that shouldn't impact too greatly. But will we need to take it into consideration? We'll see. All right, so these barrels are 70 millimeters diameter, and the wear limit is 70.080. So that's the top of the That's the top of the tolerance. So this one's 70.060. So that is in spec at that particular part of the barrel. We'll go down about midway. That is 0.65. Down the bottom. .03. So there's a mild taper, goes from 70.060, then it goes to 70.065, so it comes out a little bit and then it tapers back down again to 70.0, what did I say, 3 or whatever it was. So this particular barrel, barrel number 4, is in spec in that plane. So we'll go across now. 0.035. .02. And 0.01 at the bottom. So cylinder number 4 is perfectly within spec. I'm going to measure the other 3, and I'll only sort of capture that if to save you from boredom. I'll only capture that if there's an issue that I find among them. All fine. Now there is another way that you can do this. You don't get an accurate reading of what the actual barrels are, but if you set your telescopic gauge on the wear limit, so in this case 0.08, if we set that on there, and then very gently try to position it in the bore in several places, provided it doesn't rotate through, you know that it is below the wear limit. What the actual measurement is, you won't know, but at least you know that it's like a go, no-go gauge. That's another way that you can check that. All right, so our barrels are all fine. We can get away with a hone on those. So now we'll go and measure the pistons and see what they're like. Just looking at the pistons, they don't seem too bad. There's no shit stains below the rings, like there's no blow by. The rings aren't stuck, they're free. They're not flopping around in there. There is quite a bit of, obviously, muck on top. So this is all sort of pointing towards the oil control problem coming from the valve stem seals. However, now the manual says that we should be measuring these roughly 17 millimeters up from the bottom of the skirt. They have a tolerance, and the tolerance is 69.880. Let me have a look. Yeah, so the standard measurement range is between 69.945 to 69.960 millimeters, and the service limit is 69.880. So if we're at 69.880 or less, then we have a problem. .9. So piston number 1 is in spec. .925. .90. 69.901. Everything is in spec with pistons and the bore. One of the things you want to try and avoid doing here though now is smacking these on the con rods. Be gentle with the setup of it sitting like that, because you can spread the pistons. Alright, so barrels and pistons are fine. Let's have a look at the cylinder head. Alright, cylinder head. Now, because we're not sure what we're going to be doing with this at this stage, it's wise to keep everything together. So I use these Tupperware containers, little Tupperware, they're little cheap food containers that you get from the supermarket. I've got them all numbered, inlet and exhaust, and what number. That way everything stays together. So this is, let's get it right, this is the intake side of cylinder number 1. Cylinder number 2. Intake cylinder 3. Cylinder 4. Exhaust side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rightio. Dig out my valve spring compressor. One. I just realised you probably couldn't see that very well. We'll capture it on a different one. Retainer. Valve springs. And valve. Bloody hell, it looks alright. Doesn't feel too bad, but listen, let's just grab valve guide pliers. Valve guide seal pliers, I mean. They don't look horrible. They're not as like hard as woodpecker lips or anything like that, but at the base of the valve is a seat for the spring, the base of the spring I mean. Okay, I'll just do that with all the others. I'll do one closer where you can see it better. This is number 4 intake. Hopefully you can see that. Load it up, sometimes you've got to give it a little tap just to spring the collets free. Just grab them out of there. Number 4. Release the valve spring compressor. Spring and retainer. Valve. This one's a bit stuck in the seal. Just going to lightly tap him through. Probably got a little burr on there or something. Again, the seat, the valve seat looks fine. Right, seal. Oh, got him. Right. It's actually, again, doesn't look too bad. I'm going to grab the stuck down with oil, but it comes up okay. I'll do that for all of them, and then we'll flip it over and have a bit of a look. Alrighty, so we're all stripped down, and there's a lot of oil up and around here. This port particularly, this exhaust port here particularly, is very wet. The seats are a little bit pitted on both the inlet and the exhaust. And now, let's have a think about this. Flipped over, that would be number 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's have a look at the guides, etc. It doesn't feel like there's any wear on. There is a spec for these to measure, but There's a little bit of deflection in that guide, but it's not what I would consider to be excessive. There's some fairly significant wear in that guide. Don't know how well you can see. There's quite a bit of wear in that guide as well. And that one. What was this one like again? There's a bit of wear in that one, but it's number one's the best one. 2, 3, and 4. Inlet are all quite worn. These guides are stuffed. These exhaust guides are cactus kaput. Number 2's all right. Number 3's not too bad. Number 4's pretty bad. So there's our smoking gun. We've got worn valve guides. And it's sort of the valves themselves. Exhaust valves are getting close to their limits. The inlet valves aren't too bad. So what we'll do, I've already gone ahead and ordered, thanks to all you good guys and your comments, there was a few saying that don't use patent part gaskets, you've got to use genuine. I decided to look into that a little bit further. There's a gentleman up in Queensland, calls himself Homemade Races, and he has a business, and GS1000s are what he specialises in. If you're interested, you can have a look at his work on Facebook. Have a look up handmade races, not homemade, handmade races. He's working on a H2 Kawasaki, I think, or a H1. Anyway, I rang him, and he's a bloody nice fella, and he was talking to me about it, and so there's a couple of things that I got from that. Somebody said to me the cam bearing bolts, they're one single use and then you throw them away. I asked him that question. He said, well, no, they're not like a torque to yield or something. He said, but what they will do, he said, because of the age of them and the amount of heat cycles that they've had by this stage, he said, you'll be torquing them down and bang, one will snap. He said, you're better off getting new ones. And he actually said to me, just go to a nut and bolt shop and get high tensile bolts. I haven't done that. I've ordered brand new genuine Suzuki bolts for the camshaft. I bought a patent part complete engine gasket kit, but it's not for a G, it's for a chain drive. but it was cheap, and it gave me base gaskets and other bits and pieces that we're going to need, timing cover, timing chain tensioner, that kind of thing. But to complement that gasket kit, I've ordered a brand new genuine Suzuki head gasket, brand new genuine Suzuki base O-rings off the bottom of the cylinders, and the odd-shaped O-rings from the oil galleries in the bottom of the block. And they're the critical ones, he said to me, as some of you guys mentioned too, that those parts are critical, that you get genuine Suzuki. So I have ordered those preemptively. What we're going to do is we're going to send the barrels off and get them honed. I'll order new rings. I'll pull those pistons off, clean them up. We'll fit new rings to them, put them back together. And I'll have to send this away. I don't have, most of these guides nowadays are oversized. So if they're, for example, a 12mm guide, they'll be 12.3, and you need to ream them out and to rattle the new guides in, so that, and watch that they don't gall up. I don't have the facilities to do that. So I will send this to, I'll give this to an engine reconditioner, and I'll get them to rattle the guides out and fit new ones. The other genuine item I purchased too was valve guide seals. So they're going on, and just the head gasket alone from Suzuki was worth more money than the entire engine gasket kit from the Forsetti one that I ordered, the pattern part one. So, you know, we've spent a bit of dosh on it, but it needs to be done. So yeah, I'll give them the head. They can bead blast it, put new guides in it, grind the valves, re-stone the seats, and we'll get it back. That's what I think we should do, rather than mucking about with it here and getting it all cocked up, galled up guides and bloody, yeah. So I've fitted thousands of guides. When I used to work for about 5 years, I worked for an engine reconditioner, and cylinder heads is what I did. And you've usually got to ream them as well with a parallel reamer after you've fitted them to get the correct clearance. So, like I said, I don't have the facilities. I don't want to spend the money buying things I'm only going to use once on this head. So I'll just let somebody else deal with it who's got the gear, and then we'll get it back. So we've got all of our parts in these little containers, and I have lids for them so we don't lose them. I'll start to get all this moving, start getting some prices. We might have to wait a few weeks before I can actually afford to pay it. So for now, I'll wrap it up. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and comment. I'll catch you next time on Andy's Motorcycle Obsessions. Bye for now.